Hello, my people of YouTube. I stubbed my toe today, and it got me thinking, what would I tell my past self if it were 5 years ago and I need advice? I wish I could go back in time and just tell myself a few things, and this is basically the list of wisdom that I've learned in selling on Etsy for the past 5 years. You can take what advice you would like or what resonates with you right now, but I just wish I had like a big sister or like business person who was in my shoes 5 years ago to tell me these things. Welcome to my channel if you are new here, by the way. This is Chloe. She is part cat, I'm pretty sure she's part cat. Without further ado, we're gonna get straight into this video, guys. The first thing that I wish I told my past self is maybe, I feel like sometimes when I say this on my channel, some people are like, why would you say that, Heather? Basically, I would not rely on one platform. So if I'm selling on Etsy, if I'm selling on Amazon, if I'm selling on maybe Shopify, like I feel that one income stream and one platform, if you were only relying on this business model for your income, is not enough. And sometimes things can happen to platforms, they can happen to website posts, and you just never know. And I think it is like websites, you of course have more control over. Like if you're on Shopify or your own website, I wouldn't probably give this advice, but if you're on Etsy and only Etsy for your business, I think once you start to do well on Etsy and once you have a built up business on Etsy, it's really important to, one, start collecting those customers in a way as far as email signups. So, you know, if you have an email list or email lead magnet, like create a form for customers to fill out if they want maybe to sign up for your newsletter. Or you can have an email lead magnet like 20% off, and that would incentivize customers to sign up for your email. And then you can slowly collect those customers over time. So you have your own traffic source in a way, right? And if you ever go from Etsy, you at least can take that traffic and those customers you've kind of maybe collected and take that to maybe your own website one day. So even if you don't have a website yet, like email marketing is just such a solid way to build your business long term. And I think when I first started, I just ignored email. Like I was like, oh, email, I don't need it. Who is she? You know? And now I look back and I'm like, oh man, I just wish I built up my email list sooner. If I were to do Etsy again, I would also focus more on opening up like maybe at Amazon with the same designs, like I'm just taking it to a new platform. Or maybe I'd open up a Shopify or my own website, right? Like I would do that if I were to redo all of this. The next piece of advice, I guess, thing I learned in my time is that copycat culture is everywhere. And just because you're on Etsy and you see it so often, it doesn't mean it's only on Etsy. Literally all platforms I've seen copycat culture on. I've seen it so many times now, and when it first happened, I was so frustrated because Etsy wouldn't do certain things or help me out at those times. But then I realized that every platform experiences this issue, and I had a moment of, I'm not going to be on Etsy because of this. And then I said, you know what, like I'm going to have this issue on every single platform. The next thing that I wish I told my past self was that photocards and investing in photocards and your mockups, the lifestyle, like getting lifestyle mockup images on Etsy for products is the best investment that you can make. And the reason why is because the eye is the window to the soul. I've said this so many times on this channel, so I do apologize if people are like, oh my God, Heather, stop saying that. But it really, really is, because your customer, they want to see how this product looks in person. And the best way to get pictures is ordering a sample and taking it yourself, right? But if you don't have pictures and your own sample products, then you may have to go the mock-up image route. And I know print-on-demand sellers, handmade and digital sellers that all use mock-ups now because they're so much easier. And I remember when I first looked at buying mock-up images, I was comparing it to like buying Chipotle or like coffee. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's one coffee, which is one mock-up image. But it is so much less expensive to use a mock-up image or buy a mock-up image, then buy your own camera and buy all of your samples and take photos of every single sample. So that's why I recommend just investing in the mock-ups. I know it sounds like it's a lot, right? It is a lot. It's shockingly a lot, but it's going to go such a long way for your business, and I cannot stress that enough. The next advice I have is that tags do so much more heavy lifting than the title and description. And I feel like I spent so much time trying to learn titles and descriptions and how to make those pretty and aesthetically pleasing. And come to find out, what really came down to what listings sold in my shop was always the tags. I looked at my keywords. My keywords would always be in the tags that I would be ranking for in my searches and in the orders I got. It was always in my tags. So if you're focusing so much on the title, I cannot tell you how many listings I've looked at that have terrible titles, terrible descriptions, but everything is in the tags. So do not skip out on the tags. Make sure you have all 13 tags and make sure that they're relevant tags. Also, that's important. Make sure that it actually is what the product is. You're selling a t-shirt and you put mug in the tags and it's not a mug, that can actually do the opposite effect. Then it's gonna hurt you in the long run because it's not relevant and people are scrolling past you. The next thing I wish I told my past self and what I would share as advice is that the way that you look at ads, first of all, has to be that this is an investment. You are most likely not going to see profit if you're using Etsy ads. From my experience, it takes time to see profit if you do, and it takes sales. So if you're starting from 0 sales from scratch, typically, like even for me, when I started this past year or so with my new shop, I was running ads for my first 30 days. I was basically in the negative for a little bit. For a lot of it, actually, I'll be honest. I've been in negative for a lot of it, but it is the long-term game to get sales and basically start this wheel spinning of sales, reviews. And over time, that's going to boost your conversion rates. It's going to boost your buyers or potential buyers' trust, right? Usually ads is going to be where you may need to go if you're not seeing sales and you're listing. Just be careful of that, and just know that losing money on ads is okay in the short term to see long-term progress in your shop. However, I don't recommend, like, if you're really in the hole, you're really in the negative, like, please do not overdo it on ads. You don't need ads to succeed on Etsy. They do help, but I also don't want to recommend anyone ads and then you're way in the negative. You're like negative a few hundred. Typically, you're like maybe negative 50, negative 100, but you're getting sales and it's kind of starting to break even. That's how it typically should go. Basically, that's my advice to anyone who's looking to do ads. Don't be scared of them, but look at them as a long-term investment opportunity, in that you do, if you're not using social media or any other way to get traffic, that might be the thing that you need to start to get those sales and that wheel spinning. The next thing I want to tell you and also my past self is that the amount of people who are in a niche or in a product type or category on Etsy does not matter. I really, really wish I could tell my past self that, because I cannot tell you how many countless nights I would spend comparing my listings to others and wondering why theirs are selling and why mine aren't, and not creating listings for that. I eventually started creating listings in categories that were very high competition, and my listings went to the top of search, quote unquote, because technically it's Etsy's algorithm. Once you you start showing up more for maybe keywords, you also start showing up as related listings on Etsy. And I just wish I would have cast aside the comparison game and comparison trap of comparing my shop to everyone else's and my listings and saying, oh, who am I to enter into this race or this competition, right? There is a lot, like I don't want to invalidate that there isn't a lot of competition on Etsy, but there still can be new listings, and I see it every single month on Etsy. There's new listings that go to the top of search on Etsy, and they start getting sales and favorites, and it starts that wheel of sales and sales and sales to the point that a listing scales on Etsy. Basically, I just wish I knew that sooner, is that Etsy is always basically upcycling new listings over old listings, and it's kind of comparing a new listing to a maybe bestseller listing. I just wish I knew that, because I just felt like I would never have a chance on Etsy to succeed. And I really had a lot of self-confidence problems before I ever started my business. And even going on YouTube, my first YouTube video is so cringeworthy looking back now. But like, YouTube was another roadblock for me too. I was like, who's gonna listen to me? Like, I'm just from Indiana and I have a somewhat Midwest accent. But basically I just thought I was like your average person, and here I am now. The other thing I wish I told myself was that micro niches are small but mighty, and a lot of the gold, so to speak, on Etsy for me was in micro niches. And I think when I started on Etsy, I was going into just what was kind of popular on YouTube, which was basically like group t-shirts for bachelorette party and wedding niche types of listings, which I did sell, but what really sold for me was micro niches in occupations, professions, and micro niches in maybe like the wedding niche, such as micro niching to like the Western type of vibe for weddings, you know? Like, I just wish I really focused in on more narrow and specific niches, and some of them aren't micro niches, but like still, I wish I narrowed down and focused. And I think it took me a little bit to realize that I could take one design and scale it to multiple niches. And this goes into my next piece of advice that I wish I would give my past self, which is, if I had one design that sold, why not scale that? And by scale, I mean take that design, just change the phrase or change the graphic type in the graphic style I created it in, maybe, and take that to a new niche. So an example of what I do is, let's say a listing in the teaching niche was really taking off on Etsy. Why not take that same design, change it for the nursing niche, and sell it in the nursing niche on Etsy? I just wish I scaled out my products. If I had done that, I probably could have tripled my sales. I didn't know these things, right? And it was just learning.